Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. Today we're going to look at my Dendrobium Phalaenopsis. This is one of the 4 Dendrobium Phalaenopsis that I have at the moment, and this one is a miniature type. So it doesn't grow as tall, which I like very much because on my growing shelf, I don't like to have too bushy of a orchid or too tall of an orchid, so the miniature types work perfectly for my growth room. Grow environment. So this Dendrobium, I purchased this one probably nearly 2 years ago, and last year it didn't bloom because I was still trying to figure out the best way to grow this Dendrobium. So I switched around a couple growing methods. So last year was really a year of experiment with this orchid, and eventually I settled with semi-hydroponic system, and it seems to really like it, hence the blooming. So I think I'm gonna continue to grow this particular miniature Dendrobium Phalaenopsis orchid in semi-hydro. And I can tell you that a lot of the good healthy Dendrobiums that I have seen both in the States and also in Asia, a lot of people grow them with in rocks or in a rock and charcoal mixture. Especially on top, definitely you will have some rock, and then some grower even put live moss on top of the rock. And I ask them, I say, why are you growing your Dendrobium in rocks and even put live moss on top of it? And they told me, well, Dendrobium Phalaenopsis orchid have really thin roots, but the roots also like a lot of ventilation or air in the media, right? It doesn't like too much water, it doesn't like stagnant water, so good drainage is a must. And the roots also appreciate good amount of air and water ratio. You know, it needs to be there. So they figure rocks is the best way to provide drainage, right? And if your pot is slightly bigger, you will be able to have enough moisture within the pot but still have that good drainage. So they use rocks and small pebble rocks and pieces of charcoal, which I thought makes total sense. But I don't have that many rocks, I don't have charcoal, so I think semi-hydroponic system works pretty similar. Well, in the video later, I'll include a clip where I would be showing you the root system. But before we get to that, let me just describe to you, I think, why semi-hydroponic system works well for this particular Dendrobium Phalaenopsis type. And it's because below the drainage hole, the reservoir will constantly have water, but anything above that, right, is really the media that has much air. But then because the reservoir will be able to provide water evaporation or through wicking effect, the media, the rocks above the drainage hole would still be moist, and that's why this orchid is doing pretty well. The care that I give to this orchid is that every 2 weeks or so, when there is no more moisture, no more condensation in the inner cup, that's when I give it water. And every other watering, I do provide fertilizer to this orchid, and I use quarter strength. I've tried to use half strength just to experiment. I didn't actually see any better result. Like the orchid didn't grow faster or better, and I wasn't sure if I was, I would somehow have root burn issues, so I still scaled back to just quarter strength. Plus, that's more convenient for me because I water most of my orchid with quarter strength fertilizer anyway, so it's best that, you know, I just do it weekly, so that way I don't have to, you know, try to come up with 50% strength fertilizer. I only do that when I have to water my miniature Vandas. I have 3 at the moment, but other than that, quarter strength is exactly what I use for all my orchids. Because this is a miniature type Dendrobium phal, so I think 7 flowers on a single spike is probably considered decent. I've seen 8, 10 flowers on a Dendrobium before, but it's the regular size Dendrobium phal. So for those of you who have more experience with this type of orchid, let me know how many flowers you can possibly get or have you had on a single spike. This flower's color is white, but actually in the background it has some pink in it. And I think in one of the photos before, you can see that in a different lighting you actually see the pink much more, but in daylight, typical white light, you actually don't see the pink as much. But the center of it is pretty interesting. It's that pink-ish, purple, magenta-ish pink color, which I thought is cute. But I would love to get more miniature Dendrobium because they have so many different varieties and patterns that look really interesting to me. So I hope I get to find more type of Dendrobium online. I know I've said that I really don't need more orchid, but this is the type of orchid that I think I would like to have a couple more, just so that I can learn about how they do, what they like, and you know, what's best for them in my current environment. And here is the other flower spike, but the thing is this flower spike only has 1 bud, to my disappointment, because when I saw the second spike emerging, I was very happy. I was thinking, gosh, I'm gonna have 2 spikes growing and have, you know, 2 sprays of flowers, but no, it stopped growing after the first spot came out. I didn't move the plant, I didn't do anything to the plant, and I think that, you know, because it's on this spike is on a much smaller cane, so I think either this cane is not established enough to provide enough nutrients to continue to push out more buds, or most of the nutrients had to go to the spike that you see right now in the video. But overall, I'm still pretty pleased with the result. This is the Rebloom, and it's first bloom under my care. When I first purchased this orchid, it was in bloom, and in fact, I had forgotten about what the flower of this orchid looked like until it started to bloom. I was like, yeah, that's right. It's that one, the one with white flowers but then purple center. It doesn't have any fragrance, unfortunately, and I think most Dendrobium phals do not have fragrance. And that's okay, because to me they still are really pleasant to look at. There is something about den phals that gives me that really soothing feel when I look at them. And also in the video, you might notice that there's a Keiki right here on the left in the video here. It grew out over the early springtime, and right now there's so many roots for the Keiki, but I'm not planning to remove it because some of the roots have already grown into the media. But another thing is, I have a lot of orchid on my growing rack already, and I really don't want to remove the Keiki and make it another individual separate plant, because to me that's like another extra space taken, right? I much rather use additional space that I have for a different type of orchid or other type of other orchids, maybe another new Dendrobium, Phalaenopsis. So I know it's an excuse, but I'm just lazy. I don't want to remove it, and I don't want another space taken by the same exact type of Dendrobium. Okay, so now you're looking at is the root system, and also there, like you see, there is some water in still in the reservoir at the bottom of the cup. So I don't water this orchid until it's completely dry and there's no condensation. And you can see here lots of roots growing from above. So this orchid is pretty well established in this method, in this particular media. And the media is really a mixture of manto clay and hydrocorn. So hydrocorn is similar to leca beads. They're all made from the same, pretty much the same type of clay material, but just have different brand name. But anyway, overall, I'm really pleased with this orchid, and I think that if you don't have any Denphal, you might want to go out and get yourself one just to try it out and see if, you know, it would do well in your home environment. I think it's a very rewarding experience, so I thought I would share this with you. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!